What makes a van worthless? It is not always a dramatic crash, a catastrophic recall, or an overnight collapse. Sometimes, worthlessness sneaks in quietly, through neglected updates, broken promises, and markets that simply moved on. Today, we look at 5 vans that had every reason to succeed, and every reason, it turns out, to end up exactly where they did. These are not villains. Several arrived with genuine ambition, real engineering, clean design, and actual potential. But in 2026, buyers are walking past them at dealerships, sellers are watching their values evaporate, and mechanics are searching for parts that no longer exist in quantity. That is the quiet, unglamorous story of how a van goes from promising to commercially dead. And it is a story every buyer deserves to understand. The 2016 Ford Transit Connect Cargo came from Europe with ambition. Built in Valencia, Spain, and imported to North America, it offered something genuinely rare in the American commercial van market: compact dimensions combined with respectable capability. A 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine producing 169 horsepower, a turning radius that made urban delivery drivers genuinely grateful, and a level of driving refinement that full-size commercial vans simply could not match. For a city operator threading narrow streets and dodging double-parked vehicles, the Transit Connect made an almost irresistible argument. Have you ever invested in something that seemed genuinely brilliant at the time, only to realize years later that the wider market never agreed? That is the story of the Transit Connect in North America. The problem was never the van itself. The problem was the ecosystem surrounding it. American commercial buyers, long accustomed to the raw simplicity and generous parts, availability of domestic full-size platforms, never fully embraced the compact European formula. Fleet managers grew uneasy about long-term parts pipelines for a vehicle manufactured overseas in limited numbers. Those concerns proved prophetic. When Ford discontinued the Transit Connect for North America after the 2023 model year, the consequences cascaded through the used segment. Parts availability tightened. Dealer familiarity eroded. Buyers, aware this van has no future in the domestic supply chain, started walking past it. Today, a 2016 example in average condition sits in the $9,000 to $13,000 range, a loss exceeding half its original cost. The van still runs, but it runs without a future, and in the commercial world, a future matters as much as a functioning engine. The 2019 Nissan NV200 Compact Cargo has a different story, one that begins, of all things, with taxis. In 2011, the New York City Taxi and Limousine Commission selected the NV200 as its official taxi of tomorrow, giving Nissan's modest compact van a level of public visibility most commercial vehicles never achieve. For years afterward, millions of people climbed in and out of NV200 taxis at airports, hotel entrances, and late-night city corners across the 5 boroughs. The van became arguably the most familiar commercial vehicle in one of the most visible cities on Earth. Can you picture sitting in the back of one of those yellow taxis, the city streaming past the windows, never once imagining that the van carrying you would one day be nearly impossible to properly service in its own home market? The 2019 NV200 was powered by a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder engine producing just 131 horsepower, paired with a continuously variable transmission, modest even at launch, and genuinely inadequate against a commercial landscape that had continued evolving without it. Interior ergonomics, designed purely for utility, had not been meaningfully updated in years. Nissan's commercial vehicle investments were flowing toward other priorities, and the NV200 was visibly treading water. Nissan discontinued the NV200 in the United States and Canada after the 2021 model year, with no successor announced for the segment. For operators running 2019 examples, that decision created immediate practical consequences. Dealer support thinned across the country. Technicians with platform-specific experience moved on. Parts that once arrived in days now take weeks, when they arrive at all. Values hover between $9,000 and $15,000, and the trajectory is unambiguously downward. This is what institutional abandonment looks like. Not a bang, but a slow, uncomfortable, unstoppable fade. Now here is something most people do not know about the Ram ProMaster 1500 low roof. Beneath its American badge lies a European heart. The ProMaster, launched for the 2014 model year, is built on the Fiat Ducato platform, a proven commercial vehicle architecture that Stellantis, then operating as Chrysler, chose to adapt for US commercial operators. The reasoning seemed sound. The Ducato was established. Front-wheel drive offered real packaging advantages, and the 2015 ProMaster 1500, with its 3.6-liter Pentastar V6 producing 280 horsepower, suggested a van genuinely ready to compete. The reality that emerged from real-world ownership told a considerably different story. The 6-speed automatic transmission fitted to 2014 through 2016, ProMasters became the platform's defining mechanical controversy. Documented instances of shifting delays, slipping, and in numerous cases, premature torque converter failure. According to multiple specialist repair facilities, the 62TE transmission was undersized for the commercial loads these vans routinely carried. Then came the water. A design flaw allowed moisture near the cowl and windshield base to reach electrical connectors and the transmission control module, causing vans to shift into neutral without driver input. Chrysler issued a recall, but the reputational damage was already compounding. Between the transmission record, the water intrusion issue, and the general unfamiliarity of North American mechanics with a European-derived commercial platform requiring Fiat-compatible expertise, the 2015 ProMaster 1500 accumulated reputational weight it has never fully shed. Used examples currently trade in the $6,000 to $14,000 range, numbers that reflect not just age and mileage, but the cost of a narrative that precedes every potential buyer's research process. Which of these three vans aged the worst? The Transit Connect, the NV200, or the ProMaster? The market has formed a clear opinion, but that opinion may shift considerably before we reach the van waiting at the end of this video. The 2019 Mercedes-Benz Metris should not exist on a list like this. By every reasonable expectation, a Mercedes-Benz should be immune to the kind of market indifference that quietly erases a product. The Metris arrived in North America in 2016, based on the European Vito platform, deliberately positioned between the compact Transit Connect and the full-size Sprinter. The 2019 model offered a 2.0-liter turbocharged four-cylinder, producing 208 horsepower and 258 lb-ft of torque, managed through a 7-speed automatic transmission, responsive, refined, and clearly Mercedes in character. The interior, particularly in passenger configurations, delivered genuine comfort. Imagine sliding into a 2019 Metris for the first time. The solidity of every door closing, the quality of the materials beneath your hands, the quiet that settles around you when the turbocharged engine pulls smoothly into traffic. It was a product built to a standard that most commercial vans simply do not bother reaching. The North American market did not care. At its peak, Metris sales in the United States moved fewer than 10,000 units per year, commercially invisible for a manufacturer of Mercedes-Benz's scale. Fleet buyers largely ignored it. Cargo configurations could not match full-size competitors on raw capacity. Passenger versions competed against considerably cheaper mainstream alternatives. And while Mercedes dealers handled the van capably, the Vito platform's specific service requirements were not always within every technician's daily expertise. Mercedes-Benz pulled the Metris from US showrooms after the 2023 model year, citing a strategic shift toward electrification and the concentration of resources on higher volume platforms. The impact on 2019 owners has been a steady, uncomfortable slide with no floor yet clearly visible. A van that left showrooms at upwards of $34,000 now trades between $20,000 and $28,000, and the trajectory is still heading south. The badge is still there. The market confidence behind it is not. And now, the one that changed everything. The van that carried the highest ambition and produced the most public, most complete unraveling on this entire list. The 2018 Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid. When it arrived, it was genuinely historic. The first plug-in hybrid minivan ever offered to American families. A 3.6-liter Pentastar V6 working alongside two electric motors, producing a combined 260 horsepower and capable of traveling up to 33 miles on electric power alone before the gasoline engine engaged. It won awards from major automotive publications. It generated genuine enthusiasm from families who needed practical van capacity and wanted reduced fuel dependence. For a meaningful moment, the Pacifica Hybrid appeared to prove that the minivan could evolve. Have you ever watched something that began with that kind of genuine promise unravel so completely, so publicly, and so permanently? The problems arrived in waves. The 2017 and 2018 model years, the critical early period that establishes a vehicle's long-term market reputation, became the subject of multiple serious investigations by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Owners documented unexpected power loss, erratic hybrid system behavior, and stalling events that went well beyond ordinary engineering growing pains. And then, the situation got considerably worse. Federal investigations linked specific wiring and battery system configurations in the Pacifica Hybrid to an elevated risk of vehicle fires. Fires that could occur even when the van was parked and switched off. For a minivan, a machine built specifically to carry children, car seats, family cargo, and the ordinary weight of domestic life, a fire risk is not a manageable footnote. It is an existential crisis for the product. Stellantis issued recalls, multiple, escalating, serious recalls. The kind that included formal guidance. Do not park this vehicle in an enclosed garage. Do not leave it charging without supervision. As recently as 2026, the NHTSA expanded its monitoring to cover the entire Pacifica plug-in hybrid generation. For a vehicle that left showrooms above $42,000, those instructions were not a safety communication. They were a confession. Unlike the Transit Connect, the NV200, or the Metris, whose collapse came through market indifference, discontinuation, or the quiet erosion of commercial support, the Pacifica Hybrid earned its fate through a safety crisis that no engineering update could fully reverse in the public imagination. Remember what we said at the beginning, that this kind of failure sometimes arrives quietly? Here it arrived loudly, through federal investigations, escalating recall campaigns, and parking restrictions that reached the front page. Stellantis officially ended production of the Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid after the 2025 model year, as part of a broader exit from plug-in hybrid programs in North America. A 2018 example that originally sold for over $42,000 now lists on the used market for a fraction of that figure. The collapse in value has been extraordinary in both speed and scale for a vehicle still under a decade old. That is not depreciation. That is a verdict delivered by the market, the regulators, and ultimately the buyers who decided the risk was not worth any price. 5 vans, 5 different paths to the same destination. Some arrived there through boardroom decisions, discontinuation notices, platform abandonment, canceled lines. Others through mechanical failures that early engineering should have caught. And one through a safety crisis that permanently altered buyer confidence in an entire product category. The lesson every one of them shares: a van is not just the machine in front of you. It is the parts network, the manufacturer's commitment, the dealer support, and the market's confidence that this vehicle will still matter in 5 years. When those pillars collapse, the price follows, and no badge or launch event can stop it. Which of these 5 surprised you most? the silent fall of the Metris, the abandoned city icon NV200, or the spectacular collapse of the Pacifica Hybrid? Tell me in the comments. And if you want more honest looks at the vans the market is buying, avoiding, and walking away from, subscribe. See you in the next one.